Okay, good evening. I'm going to call this meeting to order. And we are at Section 2, approval of the agenda. 2.1, changes to agenda and approval of agenda. And we do have some changes on the consent agenda. Added item 8.32, request to advertise a public hearing for adoption of a new job description for Director 1, Operational Services. And under public hearing, deleted item 17.3, public hearing for adoption of a new job description for Director 1, Facilities, Planning, and Maintenance. With those changes, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Move it.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
A second.
Second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Savanchek, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. White, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion carries 5-0. So now we are at recognitions, always one of our favorite parts of the meeting. We're on 3.1, recognition of Savion Harris, Crestview High School student, for his heroic actions in saving a human life. Mr. Chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. So this young man, I think it reminds us all of the caliber of students that we have here in Okaloosa County. And starting with Savion, as we're about to go through a number of other students and teams, again, we're just so blessed. And you think about Savion, and have had the opportunity to meet him, and what he did was miraculous. But we'll also probably hear from him a little bit tonight in terms of how all of this occurred. But also what is very important to me, and I know that you as school board members as well, is he learned what he performed. And he learned what he performed in his career and technical education class. And we talk all the time about CTE and the importance of CTE in this school district. And because of a CTE class, Savion stepped up like many wouldn't necessarily do, and that wouldn't even be wrong. They wouldn't even necessarily know how to do it at that age. But he stepped up and saved a life of a baby. And that is something that's absolutely amazing. And I know Mr. Bryant with Savion at one of your schools. I know that you'll probably have some words as well. But so before we call him up, you may want to have something to say as well.
Well, I think I can speak on all of us on the board. We're really impressed when we heard the story, but this isn't the first time this has happened at Crestview High School where a student has saved a life. It happened a few years ago when a student saved a teacher who was choking. So it's just impressive to see the caliber of programs that we have out there that can inspire people like Savion to get out there and learn this procedure, but have to actually use it. So I give credit to our school district and the school itself for just everything that goes on there. But at this time, I think it would be great to hear from the hero himself. Yes, come on up. You should be getting used to this. You've been.
Is there like anything I'm supposed to say?
So just to make you just relax and just tell us what happened. Tell us the story. Tell like you talked to me the other day.
Oh, okay. At my job in Crestview, Florida, I worked at a Thai restaurant. And this specific day, I think it was like on a weekend, we just got done finishing all of our orders. We're going to clean up, we're going to go home. And then my boss, lady, she ran down with her 6-month-old baby, ran down the stairs into the back where I was. And she started screaming and crying, and I didn't really know what was going on. She wasn't speaking the same language I was. But all I heard was call 911. And that's what my coworker did, and that's when everything I learned in Dr. McKenzie's class started kicking off. So after getting on the phone with 911, and I was telling the operator exactly what was going on, what was happening, where the address was, I seen the baby was turning more blue, and things weren't looking too good. So I decided to, ask the parent who was holding the baby, can I hold the baby? And they gave me the baby, and I set it down on the table. And I was still talking to the operator, and she was kind of running through it, how to do it again, but I already kind of knew. So After I did 2 compressions on the 6-month-old baby, the baby instantly started crying, and the color came back to his face, the airway opened, and as soon as that happened, the ambulance came, and things started getting back to normal, and that was basically the night.
Oh, awesome.
Very cool.
Thank you
Very,
so
very
much.
humbling story, I know.
Mhm.
So, Mr. Chambers?
Absolutely. And Mr. Bryan, if you join me.
Mr. Day?
Before we present you with this, Savion, you might have another big fan that might want to say a few words. You know who that might be? It's your principal, Mr. Day.
Oh,
He's like,
Hey, the focus is on them, not on, that's where our focus is. And again, echoing what Mr. Chambers said, and Tim, that we're just so blessed to have students such as Savion at our school. Very humble young man, but I know he's learned the skills in our CTE program, our allied health, and he talked about, well, that kind of solidified what I want to do for the rest of my life. And not that we want things like this to happen, but it just happens. And it's just not his knowledge, but his courage. And we just appreciate that, and we're very proud and honored as a school to have, students such as himself. And so, principal loves you, son. Principal loves you.
You come up and join us for the picture, Mr. Bryan. Present that there.
It's always good to know when you're up in age, you have students like this at school.
Sadie, on behalf of Mr. Chambers, our superintendent, and the school board, we'd like to present you with this certificate. And we're going to get some more pictures.
All right, she's got one.
you're a superstar. Congratulations. He's fine.
Okay, so we're going to move to section 3.2 and 3.3. I'm going to go ahead and combine them, if that's okay, Mr. Chambers. Recognition of Caroline Orcutt, Fort Walton Beach High School, recipient of the 2020 National High School Heisman Scholarship Award, and the 2021 All Sports Association Female Scholastic Award. So, Mr. Chambers?
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. And again, this is another honor. And Carolyn Orcutt, as you know, comes from a family of not only amazing athletes, but amazing scholars. And Caroline, again, is bringing home a number of awards, not only for herself and her family, but also for Fort Walton Beach High School. I know that's something that she's extremely proud of as well. And I'm just going to read some comments. So first of all, Ms. Orcutt is receiving the 2020 National High School Heisman Award winner. So you think about that again, the Heisman Award winner. That's a fantastic honor. And then also the 2021 All Sports Association Female Scholastic Award winner. So most individuals would never win either, and she's winning both. So again, fantastic honor. Carolyn is a 5-sport athlete participating in soccer, swim and dive, track, cross country, and modern pentathlon. And the pentathlon is the thing that kind of catches my mind a little bit. I can't imagine how grueling that must be. So the toughness there. She has been named twice to the U.S. National Pentathlon U-17 team, earned a bronze medal in the 2018 Pan American Games, and is a 2-time All-American and 12-time national champion. Not only is Caroline successful in athletics, her list of accomplishments in the classroom are equally impressive. She won the 2020 National High School Heisman Award Scholarship and holds a 4.688 GPA. She will graduate summa cum laude this year and plans to attend Michigan State on an athletic scholarship. The only thing that could have made this even better is if it was a Florida State scholarship, but Michigan State will do. And Ms. Orcutt, if you'd come forward. And if you want to address the board,
Hi.
you have any words that you might want to say?
Oh, I just want to say thank you for everything you do for all the schools in our area and supporting all scholar athletes like me. So thank you for that.
So can I ask you a question?
to do
Are
that.
you the youngest?
I am the youngest.
Okay.
So last one. No, you won't have to deal with that. So.
All right. And Ms. Gardner, if you would join me. And Mr. Spolsky, if you would come forward as well, please. And before we present you, we're going to, Mr. Spolsky, you may have some comments as well.
It's just been an amazing ride with Colby. Caroline, she goes by Colby, and both her father and her mother were in the military, and they lived their life that way through service. So she has accomplished so much. In fact, I was telling Mr. Murillo out there that there really hasn't been an award that she hasn't won. She was just named the Coca-Cola National winner as well.
Wow.
She was just named the Emerald Coast Exchange Club Youth of the Year. I mean, it's unbelievable. She's very humble. She doesn't like a lot of the spotlight, but she is an amazing young woman, and I know she's going to make Sparty's proud up there. She's going up there to Michigan State to do crew, so she'll be rowing and stuff. And I know she'll do some fantastic things. So the first thing she says to me today is my sister just got her wings. You know, so she's always about other folks in her family or other people in school. So she's really grounded, and I'm very proud of her.
Fantastic, fantastic. And Ms. Gardner, if you'd like to present that. Is your mom down here?
They're, Terry and Dan are here. Come forward. Come on, guys.
Congratulations.
To my dad.
We're going to time this one just right for public hearings. so.
Nice job, Mom and Dad.
You're welcome.
Nice job.
Thank you. All right, so before we go on to our next presentation, we got a public hearing in just about 30 seconds. So we're going to do public hearing, and then we'll continue on with our regular meeting. Okay, so it's 6:15, and school board members, if you would please go to section 17, and we're going to go to 17.1, public hearing for adoption of a new job description for STEM coach. And is there anybody from the public here to speak on this particular item? Okay, hearing and seeing none, I need a motion to approve this, this job description, please.
I so move.
Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Vanchek, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. White, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion carries 5-0. So now we'll move to section 17.2, public hearing for adoption of a new job description for specialist digital media and communications. Is there anybody from the public here to speak on this item? Seeing and hearing none, I need a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Ms. Gardner makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Vanchek. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Vanchek, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. White, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion carries 5-0. And 17.3 was deleted, so now we'll move back up to section 3. And 3.4, recognition of Niceville High School Eaglet Dance Team State Champions 2021 Universal Dance Association Florida Championships Small Varsity Hip Hop Division. they're entering the room. And Mr. Chambers.
All right. So as the ladies are entering, so as you know, the NHS dance team competed at the Universal Dance Association Florida Dance Championships at the Villages Charter High School and won first place in small varsity hip hop, second place in small varsity jazz, as well as the best costume award. And today we are celebrating the championship team and their state title in the small varsity hip hop. And I want to say on a personal level, I think we all know when it comes to the caliber of dancers that we have here in Okaloosa County, and specifically here tonight at Niceville High School, not only are these ladies amazing dancers, they're amazing athletes, they're amazing scholars in terms of academics, and they also have themselves a fantastic coach who does an amazing job leading these ladies. And I think we all know the amount of hard work and dedication it takes to simply win at anything, but to win a state title, that's when everything comes together, and that hard work, that perseverance, the years of staying at it, because I'm sure it was never tough, right, ladies? It was never tough, but yet you stayed with it, and now you're state champions, and that's something that we're extremely, extremely proud of. And we're going to recognize the entire team, and Coach, I'm going to help you, or you're going to help me with some of these names here. But first, Principal Morello, you might have some words.
Yes, I do. I never miss the opportunity to come up here and talk good about Niceville High School student athletes, sir. When we talked last month, I was at a board meeting for our cheer squad, and I used words like dynasty and legacy. And again, this is a repeat state championship squad. It's not just that ability to get to that excellence point. It's to maintain and to stay there. That's the most exceptional thing. I've also said at these board meetings before, any athletic team, whatever it might be, you're only going to be as successful as your seniors are. And these three seniors are exceptional people, and I asked Coach Cragen actually to say a few words about each one of them because she's been with them for some time, and I just wanted her to say something really nice about these three senior student athletes who are off the charts. Coach K.
Okay, so I kind of like this environment because I do not like public speaking. But yeah, I would like to say something about each of them. Two of them, Avery and Michaela, I have coached for 6 years. I used to coach at Ruckle, and I coached them there for 3 years. And then they had a different coach their freshman year, and I started back with them their sophomore year. So for them to put up with me for 6 years is great, and we all made it. But just a little quick note about each one. Avery is in the white. Her freshman year, she had a little struggle as a freshman, and sophomore year, once all grades were finalized after the previous school year, Avery went through a short period of time where she was ineligible, and I have her permission to share this story, by the way. But I'm so proud to say that now, as a senior, she has almost a 3.0 and is an AB student and has worked really hard to get there while also maintaining a job. So I'm very proud of her for persevering and pushing through in a time when she could have given up. So that's what I wanted to say about Avery. Kendall is our co-captain this year. Two great things about Kendall, although there are many wonderful things about all of them. Kendall has a 4.6 GPA, so we're really proud of that. And also, Kendall is currently in the process of trying out for the dance team at Tennessee. And anyone that knows the dance world, it's one of the most prestigious dance teams in the nation. They started with 70 new members trying out for the team. They're down to 10 new people, and Kendall is still in. So we have our fingers crossed and high hopes for Kendall, but it's a long process, long tryout process. So we won't know for a little bit still if she made it or not, but it's a huge accomplishment for her to have made it that far. And then Michaela, I get a little emotional about this, but some of you have probably heard, but back in the fall, Michaela lost her older sister tragically to a boating accident at 20 years old. And the grit and determination that Michaela has demonstrated as the captain of our team through what has to be one of the most very trying times in her life is absolutely incredible and commendable. 2 days after her sister's funeral, she was at practice learning nationals choreography when she didn't have to be there. So I just cannot say enough about Michaela and what she has demonstrated in leadership, and she's just an incredible person with a heart of gold. And so is her mother, who's also here. But I just wanted to recognize that, because if you didn't know that Michaela had been through that this year, you would never, ever know. She is an incredible student, an incredible athlete, and an incredible member of our team. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Well, back to you. I'm just going to call out all the members of our team. Noelle Crosby, Autumn Eller-Olson, Tatum Inglet, Michaela, who's here, Parker Lee, Libby Marion, Kaylee McGrail, Elizabeth McMahon, Annabeth Audison, Leah Peoples, Bailey Tate, London Taylor, Kaylee Threet, Hardy Vance, Kendall Woolley, and Avery Wright. And our choreographer, I like to acknowledge her too, because we couldn't do it without her, but Denise DeCherry is also out of town, but she comes and does great work with us. Yeah, I got them all.
All right,
Thank you.
fantastic. Dr. Kelly, could you join me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we are going to move to Section 5, Administrative Personnel Appointments. And at this time, I'm going to pass the gavel over to my vice chair, and she's going to do 5.1.
So 5.1 is appointment of principal, Crestview High School, recommended by the superintendent for approval.
We need a name.
Oh, we need it.
Yep. So at this time, we would like to appoint Mr. Jay Sanders as principal of Crestview High School.
Superintendent may have comment.
Superintendent, want
All
to
right.
comment about that? And I add my congratulations to you, Mr. Sanders. I know you'll enjoy being part of the big red machine.
Thank you,
Mr.
Dr. Kelly.
Superintendent.
And I'm going to read a little bit of Mr. Sanders' bio. Mr. Sanders is proud to be a product of the Okaloosa County School District. As a student at Bob Sykes Elementary, Richburg Junior High, and Crestview High School, he gained a firm foundation to carry him to the many places he has been. Mr. Sanders began his teaching career in 1993, teaching 6th grade math at Baker School. After spending 3 years at Baker, he moved to Richburg Middle School and then on to Davidson Middle School in its inaugural year. Mr. Sanders transferred to Crestview High School in 1999, where he would teach geometry, dropout prevention, and advanced placement economics. Additionally, Mr. Sanders coached boys and girls basketball, football, and cross country, and served as an assistant to the athletic director. He was named Crestview High School Teacher of the Year in 2011. In 2013, he was named the Dean of Students at Baker School and was honored to become an assistant principal there in 2014. For the last 6 years, Mr. Sanders has been the principal of Davidson Middle School. Mr. Sanders holds a bachelor's degree in business from Troy University and a master's degree in educational leadership from the University of Texas at Arlington. He has been married for 33 years to his wife Stephanie, and they have 2 children, Matt and his wife Emily, JC and her husband Drew, and also Mr. Sanders is now the proud grandfather to Jace and Collins. Mr. Sanders.
So we need a motion to accept this recommendation by the superintendent to appoint Mr. Sanders as principal of Crestview High School.
And Vice Chair, I'll be honored to make that motion.
Thank you. And I'll pass it so I can second it.
Just go ahead and finish. Let Dr.
Yeah,
Kelly
but
finish
I'm-
the vote.
yeah.
You
Go
want me to
ahead,
finish?
finish it.
Okay. All right.
I'll make a second.
All right.
Call the
So,
question.
Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Avanci, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Mr. Bryant?
Yes.
And Dr. White?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it's unanimous. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Distinguished board, I want to thank you guys for having the confidence in me and for voting for me this evening. I really appreciate that. It means so much to me. I want to thank our outstanding superintendent for having the trust and confidence in me over these last years. It's meant the world to me, and I really appreciate that support. I want to thank the people that served on the committee for selecting me as the person to recommend to the superintendent. And most importantly, I want to thank my family and my friends that are here supporting me, especially my wife. She truly is my better half, and without her, I would not be able to be standing right here today. So I want to thank her a lot. It's really a dream come true for me. My predecessor, Mr. Day, he always likes to say, once a bulldog, always a bulldog. But for me, it's a little bit different. I've always been a bulldog. I was born a bulldog. So this is a dream come true. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much, and I promise you I won't let you down. So thank you very much.
On behalf of Crestview High School, my school, I'm too tall, man. He told you otherwise.
He holds a basket up and it's like.
Family up here, just, you want family? The rest of them?
Yep, pretty much.
You wanna get them up here? Y'all, come on.
Bring 'em up.
Come on, kids, come on.
Hey, Jay.
Yeah, I'll hold it. How about that?
You're over 6'7", they get in here. I know. I'm saying on my ticket there.
1, 2, 3, call it. Call it. Nobody move. Couple more. All right, here we go.
Congratulations.
All right, so we'll let everybody exit real quick. That's not going to be for the next one. Well, we've got to keep it in the Crestview family, so Okay, so now we'll move to section 5.2, and we're to the appointment of Principal, Eglin Elementary School, Ms. Lauren Seegers.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. And I'm bringing to you Ms. Lauren Seegers, for Principal of Eglin Elementary. In 2008, Ms. Lauren Seegers began her teaching career as an early intervention teacher and director, teaching students kindergarten through grade 3 with developmental delays and special needs. During this time, she also served as a VPK director and department supervisor. In 2011, she joined the Okaloosa County School District and taught kindergarten and first grade at Eglin Elementary School. While at Eglin, she had the privilege to serve as a grade level chair and SAC chairperson. Twice during her career, Ms. Seegers was selected by her peers as Teacher of the Year, both in 2009 and 2016. In 2015, she was honored to become the Assistant Principal of Curriculum and Instruction at Davidson Middle School and has led there for the last 6 years. Furthermore, Ms. Seegers earned her Bachelor's of Science degree in Education and Human Development from Wheelock College and her Master's of Science degree in Educational Administration from Grand Canyon University. Ms. Seegers continues to be passionate and devoted to ensuring that all students have the opportunity to reach their full potential and is committed to empowering students to achieve success. She is grateful for her wonderful family and friends and is blessed to serve Eglin Elementary School community. Ms. Lauren Seegers.
So with that, I need a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion, please?
I would love to make that motion.
Okay, Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Ivanchek. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Absolutely, yes.
Ms. Ivanchek, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. White, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes. It's unanimous. Congratulations, Ms. Seegers.
Good evening, and thank you guys so very much. I would like to take this opportunity to graciously thank Superintendent Chambers and our school board members and the hiring committee for selecting me for this wonderful position. I would like to extend an immense gratitude to all my Davidson Middle School family for their encouragement and support during my last 6 years at Davidson. And most importantly, I humbly thank God for guiding my path, my parents, family, friends, and colleagues for supporting my dream and my vision. I'm truly grateful for this special evening, and I would like to thank Mr. Sanders, who I've served alongside the last 6 years, Mr. Carnley, Mr. Brock, Mr. Taylor. Additionally, thank you to each one of my mentors that poured their wisdom and light into my life over the years. And over the past 6 years, Mr. Sanders has had such a profound impact on my life and has helped me prepare for this transition. As I move forward in this next journey, I am beyond honored to have the opportunity to serve as the principal of Eglin Elementary School, and I'm excited to once again serve with Eglin's phenomenal teachers and staff who wholeheartedly provide academic excellence to the sons and daughters of our military servicemen and women. And to Mr. Samac, congratulations on your retirement. And Ms. Church, let the journey begin. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Johnny, you gonna get back here by me? Okay. Are you good there? Come on up in front of it. Are you good?
Thank you.
We'll give everybody a few minutes who wants to leave an opportunity to leave.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, get that second one. You'll be happier. You won't have to worry so much. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, I thought this was my drawer, but it's not. Is this one? Hey, I think since Jeff moved, we have an extra one. Yeah, it's fine, but I'm just saying it's here if you ever need it.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move on, and I have a feeling, Mr. Chambers, this is going to be the norm for the next few meetings.
Yes.
Always exciting, always exciting.
For the near future, yes, sir.
Okay, so now we're to Section 6, Public Comment. 6.1, members of the public desiring to address the school board, Form MIS. 5241, public input and/or discussion of agenda items. And I do not have any blue cards at this time. And so we'll go on down to Section 7, which was for workshop only, and now we're to the consent agenda, Section 8. So 8.1 is approval of the consent agenda.
Move it.
Dr. White makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Evancheck, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. White, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion carries 5-0. So now we'll go all the way down to Section 9. And the first two, Section 9 is Superintendent's Human Resource Recommendations. The first two items were workshop only. 9.3, Student Intervention Services Staffing Pattern Restructure. I need a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Ms. Gardner makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Dr. White. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Evancheck, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. White, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion carries 5-0. 9.4, Employment Separations. I need a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Ms. Evancheck makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Evancheck, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. White, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. The motion carries 5-0. 9.5, Personnel Recommendations. I need a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Evancheck, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. White, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion carries 5-0. 9.6, Employee Transfers. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move it.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
A second by Ms. Evancheck. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Evancheck, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. White, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion carries 5-0. 9.6, Employee Transfers. I need a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Ms. Evancheck makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Evancheck, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. White, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion carries 5-0. 9.7, Reinstatement, Reimbursement of Sick Leave Due to Line of Duty, Illness, Injury, Medical Examination. I need a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Evancheck, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. White, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion carries 5-0. 9.8, Leave Without Pay. I need a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Second, Dr. White. Any discussion? Hear none. Ms. Gardner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Evancheck, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. White, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion carries 5-0. Section 10, there was no items moved from the consent agenda. And Section 11, another one of our favorite parts of the meeting. Dr. Kelly?
Thank you. I am giving you, board members, a copy of the agenda from this morning's construction committee meeting, and I'll go over these items as quickly as I can. Some of them are quite lengthy. So task order number 1 was Niceville High School's roofing. That project has been completed and is in the warranty period. And you'll notice we added some things to this and emboldened it so it'll be easier for you to read. And task order number 2 was the first phase of the district-wide school security upgrade project, which is the fencing, and we are down to phase 2. Phase 2 included Richburg and Silver Sands. Those are done, with the remainder to be done in spring break when the kids are out, and that would include things like concrete work and so on that we would really appreciate not having the students there while we're working. After that, we would move on to Shoal River in Antioch, and Shalimar is nearly done, with the last-minute request being taken care of there at that facility. In phase 2, we are 90% done with the design work for the remaining schools there, and we can expect the GMP to come in July for phase 2. The task order 3 was Florosa parent pickup relocation traffic flow, and that is complete and is in the warranty period. And then task order number 4, as you may recall, was Baker's school kitchen renovation. That is completed and is in the warranty period, and from everything we hear, everybody is quite happy with that new kitchen. And task order number 5 was the Joe Etheridge Stadium, time and materials for Choctaw, and that is completed and is in the warranty period. The engineer is going to be out there this week for the final inspection on that project. Task order number 6 was Pryor Middle School's kitchen renovation, and the last note on that is Mr. Anderson and the principal have asked for one additional item to be included, so that one is being revised at this time. Task order 7, Longwood Elementary School's corridor construction and site fencing, that is closed and was combined with task order number 2 that we discussed, and that is complete. Task order number 8 was Kenwood Elementary School kitchen and dining roof replacement. That project is completed and also in the warranty period. Task order number 7 was repairs to Jack Foster Stadium at Crestview High School. The engineer who will be out here will also look at Crestview so that materials can be ordered and finalized. And that one we hope to start after graduation. You can understand why. Task order number 10 was the, we politely call that Rita's project. That was Bay Area Office's emergency remedial efforts. That is done and is within the 12-month warranty period. Task order 11 is the district-wide sales tax roofing projects, and the roofing contractors have been hired, and they will be started at Edge. That was delayed by weather. The plan now is to work at night as much as possible, and probably to start tonight, as I understood correctly this morning. Pryor and Crestview will be completed thereafter, Edge, and Mary Esther to come in the summer. Task order 12, you might recall, was the district-wide sales tax construction projects, which are primarily those multipurpose and cafeteria buildings at several of our schools. That included 19 campuses and 20 projects. And just so you know that those are still in the infancy stages, but everyone is happy and they're ready to go with those projects. So everybody is very excited to get those projects going at their own campuses, as you can imagine. The additional topics, the information needed on task order 12 had some COVID impacts, so we talked about those this morning. The Citizens Oversight Committee will meet again April the 27th at 4 o'clock here in this building. And we did talk about master planning and program scheduling. We'll have more information on that later. And the website is undergoing some minor wording changes, so it's still a demo site at this time, but pretty soon we expect that that will be a site that will go public. And that's all I have at this time. It's a very exciting and interesting meeting today, and everybody's enthusiastically embracing all of these task orders.
Board members, any comments or questions?
I have a couple things. One, this is fabulous. It's so exciting for us to see all of this moving along. I think we're all getting the same alert. Okay. And can I be picky about something just because it goes back to my alma mater? The Joe Etheridge Stadium is misspelled. That has all
Okay.
E's in it. There is no I. So if I can just be picky, that's Mr. Joe Etheridge, who was a former school board member, named after him. And so if we could correct that, just because I've
I'll
got
make
that
sure
English
that-
teacher thing going.
I'll make sure that those who type this up for us are
Right,
aware
okay,
of that.
but-
Thank you.
But this is great, and we're doing some wonderful things. That's exciting. Thank you.
Was there anything else?
No,
That's
I'm
it.
good.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that
Thank-
anybody else?
Thank you, Dr. Kelly.
Sure.
Always enjoy that part of the meeting. So now we're to Section 12, Information Technology Seat Management Contract, and there's no business there tonight. And Section 13, Attorney's Business.
No update tonight.
But I do have some attorney's business. So, Mr. McInnes, if you would, please, would you mind make your way up to the podium?
He's not, wait a minute.
I'm the chair, so, you know.
You say so.
Well, Mr. McInnes, I want you to know that I received a letter today, and I'd like to read the letter out loud, and if it's okay with you.
Hope it's good.
It is good. So, board members, I think you'll agree with me on this. Dear Chairman Bryant, as president of the Florida School Board Attorneys Association, FSBAA, it is with great pleasure and honor that I write to advise you and the School Board of Okaloosa County that the FSBAA has selected Mr. C. Jeffrey McInnes, your school board attorney, as the recipient of our 2020 C. Graham Carruthers Award of Excellence. This award is bestowed annually by the FSBAA upon a Florida school board attorney who has demonstrated excellence in the profession and made invaluable contributions to his colleagues in the advancement of Florida school law and the legal profession in general. The award is named after C. Graham Carruthers, who served as the school board attorney for the School Board of Leon County for 35 years and was one of the founding members of the FSBAA. In November 2020, our membership unanimously and gratefully voted Jeff as the recipient of this award. He has served as a school board attorney for more than 30 years and has been an active FSBAA member since 1990, having served in every leadership capacity in our association, including as our president. Jeff is always available to share his vast experience and sound judgment with other members, including myself, whether at one of the conferences or by phone, and we all greatly value his input and I'll skip that one. They were speaking really nice of you. So. In a normal year, I would traditionally have contacted you to arrange for a personal presentation of this award to Jeff during one of your school board meetings. However, given the current climate, this was not an option, so I would kindly ask that you recognize Jeff as the 2020 recipient of the Florida School Board Attorneys Association C. Graham Carruthers Award of Excellence at your next school board meeting. So on behalf of the FSBAA and all of its members, I thank you for your efforts in recognizing Jeff as well as sharing him with the rest of us around the state for these decades. He is truly a Florida school law institution. Sincerely, David Kapersky, School Board Attorney, President, FSBAA, Pasco County Schools. Congratulations.
Well, it's just an honor to serve this board and the school district. It has been my entire time here, and I look forward to a great future with the superintendent and the board. Graham Carruthers was a mentor to all of us in the School Board Attorneys Association. He was a fine gentleman and set a standard that we all have tried to live up to in our professional practices with school boards. So this is a distinction coming from my fellow colleagues, and thank you for the recognition.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. So now we'll move to Section 14, Superintendent's Business. Mr. Chambers.
All right, Mr. Bryant and board, as you know, on Thursday we went over a lot of information from each of the departments, from HR to curriculum and instruction, as well as operations. And I am going to have Ms. Lightborn in a moment come up and give just a brief summary of the executive order that came out from the Department of Education, which is going to be, I think, a good thing for our district and districts across the state of Florida. But first, as you know, on Thursday, we recognized that this month held a number of different significances, from Autism Awareness Month but also to Month of the Military Child. And we do have Miss Elaine Lajeunesse, who is here with us today. She's one of our fantastic liaisons, and this is with Eglin Air Force Base. And she even brought a little pin that says "Military Kids Serve Too." And I don't want to get too sentimental, but it just made me think about when I was in elementary school. My father would go TDY, and I'm an emotional kid. Might still be a little emotional at times now, but I remember being a little sad when he would leave and he would go on TDY. And though I wouldn't throw myself in military kids serving too in the way that kids do today and in today's environment, but this pin kind of rang true. And then also you'll see here just a nice flyer of April is the Month of the Military Child. And I thought it was also appropriate at this time if Miss Elaine Lajeunesse wanted to come forward and might say a few words.
Hey, we like putting everybody on the spot, so.
That's okay. Thank you, Mr. Chambers. It's an honor to be here. I am Elaine Lajeunesse. I'm Team Eglin School Liaison Officer. I represent Brigadier General Kane and Colonel Black from the 96th MSG, and we want to thank each and every one of you for your commitment, dedication, and service that you provide to all of our military-connected students, their families, and especially all of our great teachers, principals, counselors, and every staff member that has just really helped over 5,600 military-connected students transition here into these schools, get educated, to confirm that they are promoted and get the best education possible in their military life. As you guys are aware, our military families, they move probably 7 to 10 times in a 20-year time of military service. And these kids are, they're without their parents for 8 months at a time during a deployment. They are constantly moving. They are separated from their parents, from their friends, from their peers. And for example, I can just share one thing that happened with my children. In a year and a half's time, we went from Italy to North Dakota to Florida. And it was a whirlwind. And we had 8,000 pounds of household goods that were unloaded and loaded and reloaded again. And it's a whirlwind. So thank you for recognizing the sacrifices that military students encounter during their military life. And we appreciate all the support that all of you have provided during the years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Also want to just give just a little bit of information about some of the end of year activities. And as you know, you're probably still getting a few emails, asking certain questions, which we appreciate that those questions come in. But just letting you know, schools are planning for prom, but prom in a different way. In each school is planning prom in the vision that they see fit for their school. You will also see award ceremonies that will occur this year, and many schools are doing it outside. Those that are inside might have more than one shift, where maybe in the past it was all one group, but there might be more than one group that's occurring this year. Senior activities will occur this year. Field day was something that we were looking at the very beginning, but now Mrs. Lightbourne has done a great job working with our elementary principals, literally every single elementary principal, and field day will occur at the very end of the school year this year, and parents will be able to be a part of it, but they will take precautions and they will put some protocols in place. And everything I'm talking about right now as it pertains to end of the year activities, I just thank Ms. Lightbourne because she has to go back and forth. We do not just simply make a decision right here at the district office and say this is what we're going to do. She talks with the principals and gets their input, and I think that's important. So I absolutely appreciate you going through that process because it was not just a one and done. There were many conversations, so I appreciate that. And then lastly, if Ms. Lightbourne will come up, this executive order, which I know you as school board members have talked to your association to some of our local leaders representing us in Tallahassee, and I've done the same as well as talking to the Department of Education. And what we asked was that these test scores, that when they come out, let's continue with that grace and compassion. We know that this year has not been a year without challenges. It's been a year where there's been disruptions, and I think all of us want to continue to do a great job educating our students. All of us are fine with accountability, but at the same token, we got to look at these results and see how can we help students in the upcoming year fill those gaps. But to hold students accountable, to hold teachers accountable, or school grades might not be the year to do so. But Ms. Lightbourne has more specific information than what I just stated.
Well, you all know we received the emergency order on Friday, so we've been working through it, close reading it, and putting it in a readable format for our principals meeting tomorrow. So we're actually putting it in a what the state said, what the district will have to do, what departments of the district will have to do, and then what the school will have to do for each of the topics. So that will be ready by 9 o'clock tomorrow. And the big highlights are seniors specifically, if they have not passed FSA or their EOC for graduation, but they meet all of the requirements for graduation, other requirements, have all of their credits, have their 2.0 GPA, et cetera, then we can, on a case-by-case basis, promote them. And that's how it's worded in the, so it's not a general, nobody has to do this, it's a case-by-case basis. So, but we should be able to do that with their credits and their GPA. So that's the big highlight. EOCs is the next one. So EOCs will not count 30% of a student's grade at this point. So if a student does not take an EOC, their grade as it stands will be their grade in the classroom. Okay. However, we're looking at if there's a way. Now the problem is we don't get these scores back till July 31st, but we're trying to see if there's a way that if the student takes the EOC and it helps their grade, that we're able to do that. So we're working through that process right now. So that will be coming out as soon as we figure out if we're able to do that. But that's something we're trying to do at this point. Third grade. Again, on a case-by-case basis, but third grade, a student, if they do not take the ELA, so you all know third grade is a mandatory retention year if they get a level 1 on the ELA FSA. That's a state requirement. So that is waived. If they do not take the FSA ELA in third grade, that will not count against them. And if they get lower than a 2, so if they get a 1, that also will not stand to a mandatory retention. However, it also states in there that the student must be demonstrating that they are able to pass that. So in other words, we're looking at right now, our criteria in K-5 is iReady and an F. If it's in the lowest quartile of iReady and an F. So we're looking at a similar process for third grade as well. So only if they meet both criteria would we consider a mandatory retention there. But I wouldn't even use the word mandatory. We'd have an MTSS committee then come in on that situation. So we're looking at all of our retention policies in elementary school as well. We're pulling all the numbers of students that have their third iReady scores in to see if they fall into that red zone, and then we're also cross-referencing the 3 9-weeks grades to see how many students that comes out to be and see if we need an adjustment in all grade levels. So that's the work we're working on right now. There's also for Bright Futures in there that the credit hours that students have to do their service hours are also they've reduced that requirement so the guidance counselors can turn that in as a plan but not necessarily executed those hours because of COVID. So that's another piece that's in there that affects our graduating seniors, so that's a good piece.
And Mr. Bryant?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me.
I was just going to say, it seems like these are more diagnostics this year rather than mandatory, as you say, retention and
Absolutely,
such.
absolutely,
But the
to see where
diagnostic-
those gaps are.
Exactly. So the
Yeah.
diagnostics would be very important for us then moving forward.
Absolutely.
Dr. White?
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. And Ms. Lightbourne, thank you for that overview. It was very helpful. And since you discussed the student aspect of the accountability measures, have you heard anything regarding school grades and our school district grade?
Yes, so also in the executive order, it does talk about opting in for school grades, but we would not do that until we receive our student grades at the end of July. So July 31st is their deadline to get us our student grades. We must have tested 90% of our students to request an opt-in for to get a school grade.
Is that by district or individual school?
It can be by individual school.
Wow, okay.
Right.
So you guys will be working on how we go about that, because as we all know, there are incentives associated with school grades.
And just one point of clarification as it goes to the opt-in. One thing that was discussed with superintendents is this opt-in, as you know, we have the lower 300 schools, and then we also have the schools that are in need of an improvement. And some of those schools that might be a D or might be an F feel strongly that they might be a C this year. Now, we don't have any of those schools, but that's one of the main reasons why this opt-in is in place.
And we still have Wendy Meserve, I'm presuming, doing a calculation as to what we think we might score on the school grade matrix.
Once those school grades come out, Wendy Meserve goes straight into motion, and she gets those school grades ASAP with Mr. Horton as well.
But unless we opt in, are we saying that there will not be school grades?
So if you opt in, your school grades remain what they were pre-COVID.
All right. And if you don't opt in?
I mean, if you don't opt in, I'm sorry, yes.
And if you do opt in, what happens?
Well, then they would go, if you have 90% tested, then they would go ahead and develop the score for that school.
Based on those examinations or whatever that criteria might be.
Correct. But again, we will not get those scores back till July 31st. And then there's a 2-week window to opt in, so we would be into August, probably middle of August, before they would even begin to calculate those scores. And then it usually takes DOE quite some time to do that, so.
And school will already have started by then.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
But those school advisory councils would have to make their decisions regarding incentives, should they be awarded any. I mean, has there been any discussion about the incentives to schools for being in a school?
The A-plus
that you've heard about?
plans, yeah, the A-plus plans.
Thank you, Ms. Scott.
Let me just mention, in the Senate and the House version of their runs, there are no school recognition incentives for 21-22, and the governor's proposed budget is only school recognition for Title I schools. So in another couple of weeks, we'll know exactly, if there is or isn't, or
My gracious, that's quite a change.
it is.
Well, that's important information, that there's no funding associated.
So then, there's not literally an incentive to opt in, unless you just want to know your status.
So I'll say this, the way that it was explained to me, and I'll just say this very delicately, if you were a lower 300 school or one of the schools in need of improvement, and you felt confident this year that after calculating your scores that you might be a C or better, then it would probably be advantageous for you to opt in, because there's criteria in place for schools in those categories that they have to do certain things. So it gives the school district an opportunity to get out of that status.
Okay, but we don't have low performing, so.
We're blessed to do well.
Yeah. And the other question, for either one is, we were working diligently to try and get the MSO students to come in and test. Are we still going to try and do that?
So yeah, all of the schools have their plans in place. All of the students have been invited to testing. I know we started writing this week, or last week. So some of the schools have said they have had about 50% of those students come in. Some have had a little better. I think it depends on the school and the reasons why those students aren't in school currently, but.
And then on the high school level, the subjects that don't have in the course exam, they have a semester exam, right?
Correct.
And so are we still going to administer semester exams?
Yes.
In subject areas anyway?
Yes, we did first semester exams, we'll do
Right.
second semester
Okay,
exams.
okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
All right.
and I did want to say this, it is important that everybody understand that our 10th graders are not exempt from that graduation requirement that when they become seniors. So it is to their advantage to take that assessment this year, and then they have multiple years if they don't
Yeah.
pass it to take it. The only grade level that's really exempt is seniors and third graders. That's
Right.
it.
So that's good. Just
Yeah.
go ahead and pass it and get
And
on
be
with
done.
it. That's right.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, thank
And
you.
so I just have one follow-up question, Ms. Lightbourne. So then the state will issue school grades, is that correct?
So I believe if you opt in, you would get a new grade. If you don't opt in, your grade would continue to be what your grade was pre-COVID.
There you go.
Pre-coded, what, I don't.
Last
if I
year.
So
understand.
that's, right, so last year.
Last
not-
year's grade.
Right.
Stands.
So
So
where
the
we-
state is.
We didn't get a grade last year, the
So
year before.
2019
Right,
score.
so
Right.
the state then is not going to issue grades unless you opt in. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct.
That's huge, but I understand it.
But I think what she's also saying, if I'm not correct, we're in a district if we don't opt in.
We
because
are
were
an A district. We were an A
That's what I'm
district
saying.
in 2018, we'll be an A district now. Correct.
And I have a question, I'm sorry, Ms. Rita, I probably misunderstood or misheard this. The incentive for the title schools is what they're looking for, or just the title?
School recognition, monetary incentives that we've had in the past. What the three proposals right now, and of course, we won't know until the end of April. The House does not have any school recognition money in their budget. The Senate has no school recognition in their budget. And the governor's proposal only has school recognition for Title I schools.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And the last thing I'd say on this topic is we're still, I guess I'll say it this way. My understanding is once the results come out, the state will also determine how that might impact teachers. Of course, our stance here, at least my stance, I believe your stance as well in Okaloosa County, is we also hope that our teachers are also afforded that same grace and compassion.
Sure.
And that's important, I mean, just to say, because that's one of the evaluation measures in our system. If I remember correctly, it may have changed.
That's
It's
correct.
still, okay.
So as far as that school grade, it's by district, right? It's a district decision. It's not a school decision. If you opt-in piece is a district decision.
Correct.
Right, gotcha. Thank you.
Did you have anything else, Mr. Ward?
No, good.
All right. That's all I have.
So I do have something for you, Mr. Chambers, regarding awards. So as you know, the school board presents the Auntie Mitchell Award. Last year we did it, COVID, we just brought the winner in. So my question for you, sir, is we only have a few board meetings before the end of the year. Would you, school board members, would it be appropriate if we had all the finalists come in and then we would announce that night? Or do we go ahead and have the winner come in for a special school board meeting?
I went to finalists. At first, I was thinking all the kids from every school. I thought
I was
you were,
like-
I thought you were making a joke for a second.
No, no, no.
So it kind of took me back.
No, the finalists for the Auntie Mitchell
Yeah.
Award.
No, I'm very open to whether we believe it would be good to have the one student per school come and then announce the winner. I think that might be a great highlight for each of those students, even if they're not necessarily the overall winner. They're still, obviously, it's a huge honor to be the overall top academic student for your school. So I think that could be a great highlight for our students.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
School board members, any thoughts or?
It sounds fine to me, although we do have a few meetings left.
Right.
As you said, Mr. Bryant, it might be that you and your staff might want to study that and bring back to us if that's doable.
Right.
I mean, I would think
And
so.
that's what I was going to ask, if I know we can get it in there, we just have to figure out which school board meeting would be the appropriate one, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was going to wait till it was our turn, but I'll go ahead and toss in that for Won't Beach High School's Annie T. Mitchell is this Friday, the 16th at 8 o'clock. So
Yeah, the school-wide.
School-wide, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Chambers?
That is it.
All right, thank you. So now we're to school board members' business, and I will start with the Honorable Dr. White.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant, and I probably talked too much at the workshop. But the one thing I would say is that Superintendent, I wanted to express appreciation to you and Mr. Horton and Mr. Mitchell for providing us with that information concerning the security of our computer systems. And those folks that are interested in that, all they need to do is turn back and look at the workshop, and all that information's there, and it was very helpful. And I'm very grateful the kind of measures that you folks take to try to protect that important information. Thank you. That's all.
And I'll turn it over to the Honorable Dr. Kelly.
Okay, well, I need to start with a correction. Last time I made a boo-boo. I was looking at the not revised calendar for the school year. We did 2 revisions, I think, on our calendar, but this is the latest revision. So we actually have 36 student days remaining in the school year, 39 teacher days remaining, and 73 work days until teachers return next year, and 80 days until students return again. So that's exciting to think about, 80 days. And thinking of all of our instructional people and our instructional support people over their short summer, their very compressed summer this year. So we'll be thinking of them. Anything you can do to highlight sponsor support and give kudos to our instructional staff is great in their especially short summer this year. I do have some congratulations to some Niceville High School students, and I'll start with congratulations. I just heard about this today. It was just awarded today to a 4-star consensus top 100 player in the nation is at Niceville High School, Azariah Thomas, on his selection for Florida High School football first team in the nation. And congratulations to NHS varsity and JV track and field teams. They placed first at the county championship. And Niceville High School student Reagan Howell ranked 4th in the state in pole vaulting. And I'll end with this congratulations because I think it's so important and so worthy of alignment with some of the superintendent's highlights, bringing Okaloosa into the next generation with our apps and our applications and computer science. Congratulations to Aaliyah Skoda and Jaden Griggs from Niceville High School for winning the Congressional App Challenge. And I would just encourage all of my fellow board members and parents in the audience to go and look at their videos where they actually explain the apps they created, the programs they used, the coding language that they used to create these apps. And by the way, statewide, first place, second place, and third place were all from Niceville High School. And I want you to know the third place winner, her app, and I've forgotten what she called it, but it was COVID tracing. And she actually created an app that did a calculation of all of the matrix of possibilities and where the next outbreak might be. It was COVID tracing. The second place, that was third place. The second place winner, hers was called Check Me, and hers was a financial literacy program which she devised for her fellow classmates. But it was about, you could put in your checkbook balance and it calculated for you, after it tracked your spending a little bit, what percentage you were spending on entertainment, on books and necessities, and then what you might have left over. That was the second place. The first place winner, this team of Aaliyah and Jaden, their app was called Shmoney. And the Shmoney app tracked collective fundraising for students by schools in your district by student. So if a student was in track and soccer and these other things and they were all fundraising, it would tell you if you had met 85% of your fundraiser for that fundraising period, or 90%, or how many more donations you needed to meet your team's goal and your personal goal for that fundraiser. And it showed by school, so you could be at Baker or Destin or Fort Walton Beach and know where you were if you were a student involved in any of those fundraising involved events. And theirs was called Shmoney. So go online and listen to those students explain their apps and how they got there. It's really pretty phenomenal. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. And the Honorable Ms. Vancheck.
Yep, thank you. Well, the awards just keep rolling in for my Baker Gators. Just was announced that 13 of the football team players were named to the All-State team, 8 of them on the first team. That's just not heard of. Also, of course, Joe Brunson was the Florida High School Athletic Association Player of the Year, and his dad, the Coach of the Year. So they just keep going. Also heard a little something about maybe those championship rings have come in. I'm waiting to see those, so that's exciting as we move forward. Also want to congratulate the Baker boys weightlifting team for being the regional champs, and they're heading into state. So always good things up there at Baker with the Gators. Want to talk about Take Stock in Children. We have chosen 16 new students to be into the mentoring program next year, and we're looking for some mentors that really want to have a valuable experience to work with us to get those new students going. So if you're interested in being a mentor, please let us know, because it's very valuable, isn't it, Mr. Bryant? We both do that. Also, spring break, 4 days away. I was talking to Officer Christmas when we came in. He said the kids are getting a little restless up there in the school, and it seems like their energy goes up and the teachers go down, so it's tough. But everybody needs to hang in there, and of course we live in the spring break capital, so it's great. And just a few more days and you can have a little break, and then we can come back and finish up this school year. So thank you. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Vancheck. And the Honorable
Not
Ms.
tonight, thank you.
Excuse me, my throat's been hoarse today. But I'd like to just close by saying thank you to Mr. Chambers, Mr. Day at Crestview High School, and Ms. Kennedy and Ms. Robinson, the leadership teachers at Crestview High School, for helping put on a wonderful town hall meeting. I'd like to thank my colleague, Ms. Vancheck, for being instrumental in doing that at Baker and allowing us to be able to move it over to Crestview. We had a great time, some very intense questions, I will say.
How'd you do, Mr. Bryant?
Well, they asked me quite a few questions, but you know, the superintendent gets most of the
That's
questions.
right, you go, and the superintendent will answer that.
But overall, it was a great experience, and the students really appreciated it. And again, Mr. Chambers, thank you for going up there. I know as students, they appreciate the fact that leadership does come into the school and is willing to listen to them. You know, surprisingly, we didn't get no prom questions, but you know, I thought that would be one, but we didn't. But a lot of great questions, and again, thank you for doing that. And again, thank you for coming this is coming up Friday. We're going to visit some schools on the north end, but I'm really excited about taking you to Laurel Hill. We're going to finish off the day up at Laurel Hill, but I think we might have some students that might want to talk to you there, but small class, so really excited about that. And with that being said, we'll move down to section 16, public comment, and this is the 2-minute version, and I don't believe we have any blue cards for that. All right, so we'll go around the room. Rita, Lee, Sheila, Steve. All right, this meeting's adjourned.